Welcome back to Backroom Convos. I'm your host at the most Sahoyam the report, aka Shoot Your Shot. Maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy like Cairo. Listen, if you are a fan of sports, stay tuned because you might like what we are cooking. Today we are talking about what we were supposed to talk about yesterday, which is the Monday movie review. We're doing it on the Tuesday. I do apologize, we didn't release the episode yesterday. I know, full of apologies, but there's nothing I can do about that. There is something I can do, but I do apologize. I do apologize for not releasing this episode yesterday. So we are doing the Monday movie review for the movie. I think it's been like the third time where we were doing series. We were reviewing series such as the Power Book, Ghost, we did that. Tommy Egan, the sequel to that, we did the sequel. And I think today, the movie that we are reviewing, it's Ghostbusters. And I think in the review for Ghostbusters, we would have done it a long time ago. But I'm not really a fan of comedy. I'm not a fan of fantasy and adventure. I'm really not. So I kept on seeing it. It came out on the 22nd of March 2024. I would have watched it a long time ago. But yesterday I was like, oh, let me just bump it and see what people think about the movie. I watched it. I didn't really think much of it. It was fun. It was fun because I think, let me just say this. I think when you watch certain movies where you find yourself sleeping within that, you zone out in between scenes and you're like, I'm not sure what happened, and it's not that you're tired, it's just that the storyline is pretty much pop. I think with Ghostbusters, everything was smooth, nothing rough, nothing, it was very much smooth. And the end, I was like, it was, I'm not sure about that, but but the end, every part of it was smooth, and and it still felt like more could have been done as far as the storyline, and I think it caters more for the kids, because there's nothing much to really think of it, I think, in my perspective. So yeah, I think that's my opinion on Ghostbusters. I think I could have just given it. Is it something I might watch again? Probably I can. So I looked at some of the reviews that you guys had for the movie. So the director of the movie was Gil Keenan, and he's one of the writers as well. Jason Reitman as well, Ivan Reitman as well. Both the brothers, same family. They wrote that. They share the same surname. So the people who reviews, obviously there's critiques, there's people who reviewed this, and 500 of those people gave it a good review, and 227 people gave critique the movie out of the 5 something. So it started Paul Rudd, Kerry Coon, Finn Wolfhard, to mention a few people. It's not, and it was nominated for 2 awards if I'm not mistaken. I see it says it was nominated for 2 awards. I mean, it's not a bad movie, Can't get angry at it. So yeah, man. And Kerry Coon is beautiful, by the way. I was looking at her and pretty beautiful. And who's that girl? Keslin O'Cannon. Keslin as well, beautiful. And McCain Grace, also beautiful young lady. So yeah, man. Overall, I think the IMDb rating is 6.1 out of 10. It's 54 people rather who reacted to the movie positively, and the popularity is still rising. Out of 100, it's sitting on 38%, so it's still on its rise, even though it was released on the 22nd of March, beginning of this year. So it's still on the rise. I think I'd recommend it, and I think it makes sense that it's PG-13. This is it's adequate for the people 13-year-olds and teens. For me, I'm like, I need something more strong. I need more investment in the storyline and like the details. But if for PG-13, I think it's inadequate. You can leave it to the kids and like they can just bump this and watch it, and enjoy it even. There's nothing too much to it. It's just a smooth movie, no hard, fighting and there's nothing of that sort is in that movie. So I'd rate it based on that. I think my rating would also be a 6.1 as well, or 6.7 if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think it'll be 6.7. 6.7 is the rating I give this movie. And I know there's people who might say that, oh man, 6.7 is a bit low for a PG-13 movie, and I think it really, for me, in my perspective, I think it really ticked off all the boxes. It really did tick off all the boxes, and it ticked off all the boxes for PG-13 movie. Hence, I was saying, Guti, it makes sense for this particular movie to be this smooth, not too much action, not too much invest. There is investment for sure in the storyline, but I needed more. I needed more breakdown. I like, there was just so many questions that I had in my mind as far as like the storyline. And I'm like, it's more of a juice versus whiskey type thing, to say you can give the kid the juice and whiskey, and you're like, I can drink the juice, but it slaps more if it's whiskey type of thing. So it's that. So I think this is the closest comparison that I can give you guys. So I do recommend it for it's family orientated as well, very much. So I think the movie, if I can say this, the movie is Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire. The length, is it the length? Yeah, the length of the movie is 1 hour 55 minutes, almost 2 hours. It was released this year, 2024. And did I watch another movie on the weekend? I did. I just forgot which. It didn't stick. I think one of the series, I watched one of the series that I really enjoyed, which is Power. Still bumping those. I think I'm also going to look at or watch Sisters as well. I'm going to watch The Boys, the mayor of, is it the mayor of something, the movie, not the movie, man, the series. I'm going to watch that as well, because I feel like it's a nice series, but I feel like what they sold to us as far as like the series, I'm not getting with like in the first few episodes of the mayor of, I don't remember, it's the mayor of something, the series. But I think I'll make sure in the next segment of Monday movie reviews to give you that. So like I'll go through that and just try and figure out the storyline between that. But I also like seeing, I'm showing shorts. They used to call them showing shorts, the snippets of Sisters as well. I feel like Sisters is also nice as well, but I feel like that's not my type of jam, like the Sisters, and I don't feel like that's my, but because we have to review something on a Monday, I'll just give it a view or watch. What are you guys watching? Please do let me know in the comment section what you guys are watching. It can either be a series, it can either be a series or a movie, it doesn't really matter. And I think one thing I've seen in a couple of weeks, when the trailer or the first episode of Bridgerton came out, there was a lot of hype behind it, and I don't like series or movies that have a lot of hype behind them, because I think somehow I tend to have a high expectation, and if those movies or series don't deliver, I feel like it's not worth the hype, and so sometimes it's proper to like let something die down so you can watch it in peace, and there's not so many opinions that are centered around it, because you'd find you're talking about, if you were to talk about Game of Thrones when it came out, everyone was talking about it. Everybody had an opinion about Game of Thrones when it came out, and like if you listen to a lot of those people speak about Game of Thrones, you'd know like everybody has their favorite scenes within that episode, and now when you look at it, it's not even that nice, because like every episode that was being discussed by people in the internet, people that you see, like your day-to-day people who are your 9 to 5 people, talk about that, you like I see smart money bekakhuluma this thing, and that person was talking about their thing, so like it doesn't really stick, because now it's no longer has that thing, like, because you already know. It's like when someone, when you're watching a movie with someone, and someone, as you are watching that movie, keeps on like explaining the scenes to you, to say, look at this. I hate those people, and I feel like with the people that were watching Game of Thrones, it was the same thing with the hype. Even with anything that is hype behind it, it's like telling you, Guti, this is what's happening, and you don't need that to enjoy something. Because now, sometimes with music it's different, because it is the same actually. With music, you'd find Guti, the opinion of others will be your opinions because of what everyone is saying. Understand? So it's proper to not give it a lesson, let it die down, or be the first person to like bump that thing, give a review, and you let it slide. Then you give your authentic opinion. But if it's filtered, you've listened to like 10-20 people talk about the same thing, and it's your turn to talk about it, it's like the authenticity is compromised, because your opinion is filtered with everybody that came before you and said stuff about that one particular thing that you are reviewing within that moment. So that's what I don't really like, and I see it in movies. I've seen it in movies. I've seen it in music as well. So you talk about your Kendrick, you talk about the Drake, you talk about J. Cole, some of like the biggest acts, when they're about to release an album, and you are the first person to listen. You have to, and the saddest part about all of this is that with music, or an LP, which is like an LP is an album, EP, EP is an EP with short track, which is like 5-6 tracks. It's 5-6 tracks and less, and in LP is an album which is like 6 and more tracks going up. It's an album. So what you tend to get with like some of these, most I think it happens with like your rap albums, where like maybe Eminem is releasing Kamikaze, and you can't give Kamikaze a review, a day's review on Kamikaze, because like there's so many bars within that, and you listen to music. Like sometimes some of the bars will go over your head, because like now you're just chasing content and you just want to release the episode. I don't know if that makes any sense. You're just chasing content to say, let me just review quick, and you really miss like the finer things, the details, I think with that being said, I feel like you need to give yourself time, like in the moment you start to build the platform that is centered around that, everybody else is like, no, we hear what everyone is saying. And whenever you come back after a week or two of listening that album, you're like, okay, like I'm ready to give out a review of this particular item, and when I'm done, I'm going to send it out and tell everybody that this is my opinion. I know everybody has their opinions, and this is mine after a week or a week later. It's not because you're slow, but it's because you're trying to get in depth and get the details, because like some of the people have metaphors, are centered around metaphors, entendres, and like there's just a lot within that. The art part of it, you can't just review within that. Maybe the hour of listening to that album, however long that album is, you can't really like dig in and like listen to that entire thing within that certain period, the small period. You can't really do that. So, and it's also disrespectful to an artist when you're like, I listened to your project 15 minutes ago. You're giving a review on an album that it took 5 years to make. you gave it a 3-minute review, and you didn't really like sit, because there's certain songs again that you really have to sit with them to like, oh, like this song is growing on me, you know, you like, this is like pretty nice, this song is pretty nice. And there's like also those bangers where you're like, ooh, this is it, instantly you know it's it. And there's just those records that mature with time. So in movies, I think also, like, I'm trying to like get to a place where the opinion is not filtered as much. And you know, like, because with movies I'm very specific, where I'm like, oh, if I'm watching, it has to be, everything has to be on point, because like I'm looking into like the details. I'm like, you know, I'm a true believer in details, so everything that I do, I like watch detail, because you know, detail is king, man. Detail is king. If you understand the details, you understand the product, you know. So the people who are making those, if they invest too much, because sometimes you'd find with like some certain series that you watch and you're like, ooh, like you mean, whenever you miss the detail, you lose the entire plot of that particular scene or the particular movie or like the series. You lose the entire plot because you missed that small detail. And watching the next episode after that doesn't really make sense after that, because of that one particular detail that you missed in the previous episode, you know. And there's people who master that, and people who are writers for power have mastered that, people who write for billions have mastered that, just to mention a few episodes, you know, just to mention a few platforms of productions that have mastered that. I think those are the two who've mastered the ones that I really enjoy. Those are like the top two that I feel like, you know, they are up there as well, you know. Even Suits as well, you know, the writing was pretty much great, you know, the series was amazing, was on point. I think a lot of people enjoyed it, and they even had sequels just to make sure like they keep a progression going with the Jessica Pearson. I don't remember what the sequel was, but I think it had Jessica Pearson as well. So yeah, man, that's my take. I didn't even give you the song of the day. So the song of the day is Tyrone by Erykah Badu. The song was released in 1997. The song is 5 minutes 45 seconds long and currently sits at 12.6 million on Spotify alone. Amazing song. I was listening to it this morning. Do let me know what you think about this episode. I'm your host with the most, Day Report, aka Future Short, and maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy like Cairo. Let's meet again on another exciting episode of Backroom Convos. Cheers.